It's time that we conclude our journey in the Brutal Mode EX mod, the mod that makes Plants vs Zombies much more difficult. Just like any Outer Tower Defense game, Brutal Mode EX mod has its fair share of towers that are stronger than others, and some towers that are outright garbage. Today, I will give my opinion on what these best plants are and rank them in a tier list. If you haven't watched Brutal Mode EX before, I suggest you watch the previous parts before watching this tier list, so you would have more of an idea of what changes have been made to the plants in this mod. With that out of the way, let's get right into the tier list. I won't include these plants in my tier list as they do two specific things and are too unique from other plants, so they aren't really comparable to other plants. Gold Magnet is the worst plant in Brutal Mode EX, because it does the exact same thing as it does in vanilla. I'm not exactly sure why the developers decided to remove its ability to amplify and increase the amount of sun you make from regular Brutal Mode, but sucks to suck. Scaredy Shroom now costs 0 sun in Brutal Mode EX, but it is one of the worst plants in the game. Okay, it costs 0 sun, but you need to spend 4 sun by clicking on it to make a shoot a spore. Yeah, that's right, 4 sun for a single hit. So you're telling me I have to spend 40 sun to kill a basic zombie. That is an absolutely terrible cost to damage ratio. It's also terrible as a 0 sun chump blocker since it has a slow recharge and low health. Having to constantly click the Scaredy Shroom to make it shoot is also a huge problem since you can't do anything else while clicking the Scaredy Shroom. All of these reasons combined is why Scaredy Shroom is one of the most useless plants in this game, ranked only above Gold Magnet. Gloom Shroom is another notably useless plant in Brutal Mode EX. I'm not sure if you're aware by now, but a zombie with a lawnmower as its head exists, which instantly trample plants. Unfortunately, Gloom Shroom falls victim to this one zombie alone. They have to be very close to zombies to shoot, so a torchlight would have probably trampled the Gloom Shroom before it got to attack again. Gloom Shroom ends up doing nothing for the most part, and there's just really nothing to use it for. Digger zombies don't even dig to the end of the lawn anymore or eat from behind. Gloom Shroom is deserving of the F tier placement of useless plants in Brutal Mode EX. We're now out of the category of useless plants, but Hypno Shroom is still really bad. Just like in vanilla and regular Brutal Mode, this plant is useful for 2 levels after you unlock it, and then you ditch it because of the other mushroom plant that nukes the whole board. It's only useful to counter football zombies, but hey, it's still more useful than our F tier plants. Cabbage Pole is the definition of bad. Its ability to do more damage to zombies of higher initial health is a huge drawback since it now does less damage to zombies of less health. It ends up needing to shoot 12 times to kill a basic zombie, while in vanilla it takes 5 cabbages to kill a basic zombie. It does nearly no damage to basic zombies, and every level has basic zombies, so it does nearly no damage most of the time when its shots just get blocked. It also has a slow recharge and costs 125 sun, making it an even worse option compared to many other plants. The one very specific scenario that this plant is usable is when the level has no basic zombies. Yes, that level does exist because Zombotany 2 is a level where basic zombies have been replaced by pea-shooter screen door zombies, and the screen doors on pea-shooter zombies count towards the maximum health of the zombie, allowing Cabbage Pole to kill them in 3 shots. It is niche to the point that it is only usable in 1 level. Don't use Cabbage Pole. Split Pea is truly one of the most pointless plants. It now shoots 2 peas both ways. Sounds good, right? Only problem is there's no reason to shoot 2 peas backwards if no zombies can go behind it. Digger zombies now eat all plants underground and then pop up on the 4th column, so they don't go behind Split Peas. There's also no merit to use a plant just to counter Gargantua imps in a normal level, and even in survival, you'd use Gloom Shroom instead of this. Generally speaking, useless plant in all levels with points given to it for just being a plant that doesn't die to torchlights immediately. Blover is a hard plant to explain in Brutal Mode EX. To this day and age, I have no clue what it does and how much damage it does because the outcome of every blower is different. Blover is guaranteed to do damage to all zombies on the screen for a bit and also apply a shielding effect, but apart from that, it's a complete casino. Sometimes it does a bit more damage, sometimes does a lot of damage, which kills bucketheads, and then sometimes also knocks zombie backs in his own row. It's a really inconsistent effect and also has a slow recharge which doesn't actually blow away balloon zombies, so it feels kinda bad. Overall, a weird plant that I'm not quite sure what its applications are, but at least it's more useful than some plants that are outright useless and pointless. Snow Peas essentially double any damage output in your lane because slowdown causes zombies to move twice as slow. Snow Peas in Brutal Mode EX shoot a burst of freezing shots after shooting 15 times, so they're even stronger than before. However, it's a struggle to find a reasonable level for Snow Peas when Free Peters directly outclass them. Free Peters only cost double, yet they deal triple the damage, making it far more cost and space efficient. It's slightly more cost efficient when placed on the top or bottom rows because of its burst attack that activates after 15 shots, but it's still more worth it to go Free Peter because it's worth the slight cost inefficiency in exchange for space efficiency. That was word for word what I said in the Bruno Mode tier list video, because the situation is still unfortunately the same in Bruno Mode EX. Too bad for Snoopy. Walnut is as bad as you could believe it to be. It gets instantly crushed by torchlight zombies, so it serves no purpose if it can't stall zombies. This will be a recurring theme of the wall plants in Bruno Mode EX, since you can't really stall zombies at all with them when a torchlight zombie can easily take the wall out of play. Walnut even causes 50 more sun now, making it even worse, and the fact it freezes after it gets to the second degrade stage really doesn't matter if it just gets instantly trampled. Overall, very poor plant without pretty much any usage other than blocking Zombotany piece, which isn't even the best at fulfilling set role. Cactus receives several changes. Not only does it shoot bursts of free shots at once, it also knocks back zombies with increasing chance with more zombies in its own row, and also has significantly increased health to act as a blocker. Unfortunately, this weird hybrid of an attacker and defender doesn't really make sense in the context of Bruno Mode EX because of the torchlight zombies. Having extra health doesn't really mean anything, as I just mentioned, and its attacking strength is far less impactful than something like a repeater, which damages all zombies in front of it with a piercing attack. It's also not really great at stalling, particularly compared to something like Repeater. It ends up trying to do everything at once, which makes it worse than other plants at everything, making it not fit for any particular purpose. Garlic is another plant that gets demolished by torchlight zombies. To make up for that, it now diverts zombies when placed and destroyed, and poisons zombies that hurt it. Unfortunately, the two guaranteed moves are not useful enough to make it viable. Why bother planting a garlic when torchlights are probably going to trample the garlic within a few waves? Unsurprisingly, this not so useful plant became even more not so useful in Bruno Mode EX, but it has one redeeming quality. Angry dancing zombies when moved by a garlic's when placed ability actually starts to move away from the house. That's the only legitimate use case I've found for garlic, otherwise this plant is trash and you should just be standing your sun on actual defense. Pumpkin is straight up terrible in Bruno Mode EX. It suffers the same problems Walnut does to torchlight zombies, which already make it bad. Its combos with close range plants also aren't good since they are generally weak to torchlight zombies, as previously explained with Gloomshroom. Its real use is probably to protect plants from gargantuan imps, and you don't need pumpkins most of the time since imps die very quickly to Gatling bees anyways. Its side ability to cut down recharge by half on the plant you place it on isn't particularly useful either, since often it is just not worth spending that much to fasten the recharge. Spikeweed is a source of damage that takes up no space on the lawn. Can also be used on roof levels, but it's just a bad plant. Usually, Spikeweed is really good when you can halt zombies on its tile with wall plants to continuously do damage while only spending some for one Spikeweed. Well, about that. Wall plants are unusable in Bruno Mode EX, so Spikeweed just sucks. Spikeweed now only hits each zombie a few times, which is just not worth it for the cost. Its knockback ability is also rarely relevant, at most just allowing the Spikeweed to damage the zombie it knocked back one more time. Not a whole lot of usefulness other than being a fast recharge plant that can instantly kill zombonis or catapults. Op Cannon is cost inefficient and costs way too much sun for any generic level where regular attackers are almost always better. It's too expensive to set up, has very bad payoff in any short level, and only used for unsighted and high gravity due to restrictive properties on those special minigames. Its usefulness outside of survival is pretty much zero and unnecessary in any normal level, so unfortunately it is ranked very low. Fumetree doesn't have many applications since it's back to being short range like vanilla. However, it costs 25 sun more and slows down zombies after every 11 shots. This ability is not really a reason to use Fume Shrooms considering that its short range makes it very ineffective against torchlights, so they could easily be trampled early on. It is best used as a relatively cost-efficient way to deal with swing door zombies in the early game, to pave your way to afford better plants like melon poles. It's not really worth it later on in levels due to their limited range and damage, where other plants like repeaters fulfill similar roles better with a higher damage output and range. Squash can squash twice but only do damage to cut down its target health by 50%, which is a detrimental nerf to one of the best plants in vanilla. Squash was often used as an early game plant to get rid of stray zombies when you can't invest long-term defense into the row yet. This nerf basically makes it unusable early game, unless for some reason you want to spend 50 sun to kill a basic zombie early on instead of just planting a pea shooter. And I don't really see why you would want to use Squash necessarily in the late game considering Jalapeno and Cherry Bomb are far superior mid game. It hard counters screen door zombies because the screen door counts towards the maximum health, so the Squash can instantly kill the zombie. Outside of that, it's not used in any other way. Torchwood can now stack up to twice in Bruno Mode EX, allowing Flaming Peace to further gain power after passing through another Torchwood. This allows it to have the highest power ceiling of all plants, but it's just outclassed by other options that are more flexible and cost efficient. Repeaters only cost 2 Torchwoods combined, can be used as early game defense and still basically do double damage to zombies' effects by slowing them down to half speed. Torchwoods have a higher power ceiling, but by the time you can stack Torchwoods, you have probably already won the level without the higher power ceiling provided by Torchwoods. Marigold now generates random colored sun that give different effects. It is an extremely tough plant to rate overall since it is super swingy and unreliable at critical moments. I think it is not that useful because of its slow recharge time and not very good outside of getting the blue sun to freeze the zombies repeatedly. I can see why you would want Marigold on Survival Endless because it's basically an unlimited amount of ice shrooms, but other than that, it's just a less flexible ice shroom or plantain. It really boils down to the fact that you can't really consistently get what you want from Marigold without having a lot of them down, which is really difficult with its very slow recharge. Spike Rock is bad for pretty much the exact same reasons why Spikeweed is bad. It's only better because it's more cost efficient against Zombonis, otherwise he's no use at all. Zombonis are not even that dangerous anyways because they get shredded by Gatling Peas in the day and blasted by Doom Gems during the night. Tallnut is the plant with the most abilities. It can block pole vaulters and dolphin riders, damage zombies that eat it, turn into a squash when trampled, and free zombies after being eaten. That sounds like insane utility with many ways to use it, but it still remains the same problems as Walnuts because Torchlight zombies still instantly kill the Tallnut. Make no mistake, it's much better than the 100 Sun Walnut, but its effects are just very weak when the Tallnut doesn't survive for very long. Getting the item on death effect from a Tallnut might as well be impossible because there's very little chance it gets eaten all the way through before a Torchlight tramples it. Its very long recharge also severely limits its flexibility, since you often cannot plant them fast enough to defend against zombies from all rows. It's not a great plant, but it will contend with Umbrella Leaf to block some botany peas because it also protects you against Dolphin Riders as an upside. Rompers are significantly worse off from where they were in Brooder Mode since it's a close range plant, which automatically makes it a bad plant against Torchlight zombies. However, it functions very well to get zombies off its own lane, as its bad breath after devouring diverts zombies, making them a better garlic in most situations. It also devours relatively quickly, and its ability to reach out and eat zombies in the lanes above or below it allows it to be flexible where you want to plant to save from danger. Unfortunately, their very long recharge hampers our ability to plant more than a few down every level, making it not really worth a whole slot since we can't get a lot of upside from it. Umbrella Leaf is overall the best wall plant. Although costing the same amount and having a longer recharge time, it can deflect Zombotany Peas and also has a lot more health. This makes it very versatile since most of the time, you're only using wall plants to block pea shooter zombies thanks to Torchlight zombies existing. Umbrella Leaf cannot be damaged by Zombotany Peas, so we can just plant them and not need to replace them, making them the most cost-efficient solution. Not only that, it's also significantly more useful because target zombies spawn bungee ambushes, which Umbrella Leaf deflects them as well. Outside of that, there's pretty much no reason to use Umbrella Leaves anyways, just like any other wall plant that we can use, but the overall best wall plants against projectiles. Melonpole brings us to the start of the not so bad plants, but even Melonpole struggles in Brooder Mode EX without the appropriate supports. The main benefit of Melonpole is its ability to do group damage, allowing us to clear our hordes much more efficiently in the late game while remaining somewhat decent early. However, one Melonpole alone does not kill a Torchlight in time before getting trampled, so even with its cost cut to 225 Sun, it's hard to set them up early on. This imposes a rather high barrier to using Melonpole since we need to make sure that there is appropriate defense set up to plant these expensive fellas and support them well. Usually, using Melonpoles means we're going for the maximum sun producers to get enough sun to use them as well as needing to spend an extra slot for an early game defender. This makes them quite costly to use in the number of slots, but overall they do a fairly good job at killing medium-sized groups later on in the game, such as the numbers of pole vaulters. Wintermelon sits in the same rank as Melonpole, becoming a much more cost-efficient free beater in the long run. However, the liability comes from the difficulty of setting up Melonpoles initially, which leaves them not as flexible as cheap stalling options like Planterns and Ice Shrooms. Free beaters are also generally better because they hit zombies in free rows without needing them to be close together, a significant difference maker in the early game when zombies are more apart. However, Wintermelon does see usage over Free Peter considering Wintermelons can target balloon zombies, so using Wintermelon instead of Free Peter plus Cattail saves a slot. Kernopole is a powerful hybrid of stalling and damage, now being able to butter a group of zombies rather than just one. Butters halt zombies completely in place, so having groups of Kernopoles can completely freeze zombies in place with no limit of how many zombies can be buttered at once. The further stalling created by Kernopole can be exploited using Planturn and Ice Shroom, grouping many zombies together for a much more effective Doom Shroom. On the other hand, it's a fairly weak early game plant because of its very low damage, so it's definitely not always the best in levels, say with higher health foes. Tangle Kelp is surprisingly not bad at all in Brooder Mode EX. In fact, it's very useful. It now costs us 0 sun, making it much more reasonable and allowing us to spam them for the early waves. Not only that, but it also generates a specific colored sun depending on the zombie it rounds, giving different effects similar to that of a Marigold's colored suns. It becomes very useful when you use them to kill snorkel zombies to get the blue sun, which freezes the entire screen like an ice room. Absolutely fantastic value for only 0 sun, and we can even use Tangle Kelp to fasten our recharge for free by pulling down a bucket head, or just get 75 extra sun by pulling a cone head. This makes Tangle Kelps a very viable option to aid ourselves. Madness Shrooms are one of the great plants in Bruno Mode EX. You could just use this as a way to weaken strong zombies like football zombies, but it serves a far more important purpose. Cherry Bomb Gargantuars throw a Jack-in-the-Box zombie at your defenses when at half health, which destroys your backline defenses. The only way to prevent it is to steal that Jack-in-the-Box with a Madness Shroom. Madness Shroom is also the only way to force Digger zombies out of the ground, which allows you to plant further than the 4th column, opening up a lot of space on the lawn to plant. Madness Shrooms are a perfect solution as a reusable, inexpensive, and easy way to deal with Digger zombies, with just 1 or 2 having coverage of the whole lawn. Madness Shrooms may seem very weak in high density levels, but it now also removes all metal objects at once after pulling 5 objects regularly, so it still works in those levels. All these are substantial reasons for why Madness Shroom is a very good plant. Ice Shroom is a very good stalling plant, especially because it slows down zombies after the fact and freezes any ongoing pea shooter zombies. Pair this with Planturn and you can slow down all the zombies every wave by just alternating between the two, helping us essentially double our damage at a very low price. Although it freezes for a longer duration than Planturn, it does not permanently slow down zombies, so Planturn heavily outclasses Ice Shroom if we were only choosing to use one. Pea Shooter receives a full rework in Bruno Mode EX with significant improvements. It was often a waste of space to plant while still being not great for the early game. However, it now costs 50 sun, and does significantly more damage, albeit slides across the lawn over time. Coneheads can be killed by just a single pea shooter placed in the back. Moreover, you can even kill bucketheads with just one pea shooter if it shoots a snow pea and slows the buckethead down, so it is a very cost efficient early game plant. It can keep defending its own row as long as it stays alive by killing whatever's in front of it, so most of the time, you're killing multiple zombies with a single pea shooter. It also helps to temporarily add damage to a lane, assisting even later on with the benefit of immunity to Zombotany peas and squash zombies, making it very powerful and versatile. Potato Mine now costs 50 sun, but when planting one Potato Mine, you get another in the same column but in a different row as the first Potato Mine. It seems rather odd to use because a lot of the times, you may not want a second Potato Mine because you're using Potato Mine as a way to instantly kill a zombie. However, that second Potato Mine does come in handy when you need to plant cheap plants to simply stall out zombies or need extra early game defense that you don't have at that moment. It's overall a net neutral change in my opinion, since it still excels at its main purpose of being a great way to beat the early waves without spending much. However, Cattail is a better early game plant compared to the Potato Mine because now it can be used in any level. It's also sometimes a bit risky to use Potato Mine because of Torchlight zombies moving very fast, so you need to plant a Potato Mine many tiles in advance to kill them. Repeater is generically one of the best plants in the game. Costing now 175 sun, and instead of shooting 2 peas, it shoots a star and a pea and stars pierce through zombies. This is an absolutely damage rate for only 175 sun, which you're essentially paying for a laser beam and pea shooter combined. It is the best at clearing out the massive hordes of zombies. However, its stars cannot damage zombies behind shields and only damage the shield and not the zombie itself. This makes them not a counter to screen door zombies, which unfortunately limits a lot of what we can use them for, since most Zombotanies do hold shields. However, as a stepping stone to possibly the best plant in the game, Repeater serves its purpose right as a very cost-efficient attacking plant in Bruno Mode EX. Doomshroom, unlike in Vanilla, has now been nerfed to cost 225 sun. Quote-unquote nerfed, because it's more of a rework. It still does the same explosion as the Vanilla Doomshroom, but now zombies that get blown up by a Doomshroom have a small chance to drop black suns, which when collected, do a small explosion. Doomshroom can be more effective against larger groups of zombies when appropriate, such as in the final wave of a level with gravestones. Doomshroom will do better there since we can use the black suns to also eliminate the Gargantuar spawning from the gravestones. Despite not being as spammable, its new ability remains useful in levels with Gargantuars by allowing us to have a good bit of chance of instantly killing them. Jalapeno can still clear out the whole wave of zombies using its vertical attack and still instantly kill Gargantuars by overlapping its vertical and horizontal attack. It's even more flexible in Bruno Mode EX because it can help clear out ice trails from ice trail zombies which appear in every level, making them an even better option than before to consider. Seashroom gains a significant buff by having fast recharge, making them the actual equivalent of amphibious puffshrooms. They excel at providing value as a free form of defense in all fog levels and are essentially auto-include during fog levels. Often, it can save you lots of sun to help build up the better plants. Unfortunately, they are nowhere as useful as puff shrooms, as there are not as many zombies that we can stall with sea shrooms with the limited collection of zombies in the water. Puff shrooms remain superior by maintaining relevance even in daytime to slow down zombies early on and slow down threatening gargantuars. Remember how stars now pierce through zombies? So now star fruits shoot piercing shots as if it wasn't good enough in vanilla for just a low cost of 200 sun. Starfruits can very easily clear out crowds of zombies when spammed in masses thanks to its fast recharge. And it even works on roof levels now because stars pierce through the roof. These wonderful properties make Starfruits some of the best options in Bruno Mode EX, only outclassed by the very best that are just a bit more flexible in the early game. Gravebuster now costs 25 stun less and generates 75 stun after busting down anything. Yes, anything, not just graves, but also your own plants. When you bust your own plant, make a plant crater on that tile so you can't plant on it. Except you can just dig it up, so there's no downside other than using a slot. Grave busting a zero cost plant gives a 25 sun profit every time, valuable at accelerating your sun production since it is guaranteed sun. Removing gravestones at a profit also makes this very appealing to run in every level with bucketheads to profit more sun off of gravehead zombies. This is especially great in nighttime with less sun production available, since you can plant Gravebuster straight away to profit 25 sun immediately, making this one of the best plants in the game. Cherry Bomb is, I believe, the most generically strong plant. Costing 50 sun less, it only does enough damage to kill coneheads while freezing any zombie that it hits. However, the main benefit of Cherry Bomb comes from the fact that it is the cheapest way to eliminate Torchlight zombies off the line. There are so many scenarios where a Torchlight is about to trample one of your important plants, which may cost you the game entirely if it weren't for Cherry Bomb to just kill the Torchlight. Sometimes, it's also useful to have a cheap way to straight up wipe a Jack-in-the-Box zombie or kill a ghost Jack-in-the-Box zombie. Just generically a multi-purpose instant use plant that can also be used to freeze up any horde of zombies that may be difficult to deal with. I think it makes more sense to talk about Cattail alongside Freepeter together as a staple combo and why they're two of the best plants in the early game. Freepeter has been mentioned many times throughout this video as being one of the best plants in the game, and that's because it is so cost efficient. Although costing 25 cents more now, it shoots Snow Peas, making it a more cost and space efficient Snow Pea. Pairing this slow effect with Cattail makes the trifecta strategy's early game. This combo works so well because Cattail is not lane restricted by where it can be placed, since we can upgrade a flower pot to a Cattail. In pool levels, Cattail is even better since it can sit in the pool lanes, same from any early Torchlight zombies, allowing us to easily defend them off with not much trouble. Cattails can pretty much defend off everything in the first few waves with just a simple planter and slowdown for zombies screen wide, and then we can afford Freepeters afterwards. With these two plants combined, pretty much nothing in the early game is going to get past you besides from maybe some screen or zombie variants. These two hyper efficient plants are also extending to the late game to help us out even more. Freepeters remain excellent throughout the level as its slow effect is essentially doubling our damage output and gives us more time for all our outer attackers to kill up any zombies. Cattails also remain useful for defending balloon zombies and piling up extra damage in any lanes we need help in, making these two plants a great early game combo. Puffshroom is at its former glory returned by Bruno Mode EX. It is unchanged from vanilla, so unsurprisingly, it remains one of the best plants in the game as a free form of defense. These are so important in so many levels thanks to its interaction with Gravebuster, allowing us to cheat out extra sun availability in the early game. Otherwise, I'm fairly certain I do not need to explain why Puffshrooms are broken. Lantern now removes all fog, stuns the entire board for 3 seconds, and it also gives all zombies a permanent movement speed penalty. For 25 stun only! By golly, is that an insanely overpowered ability to slow down the whole screen of zombies for 25 stun. And did I even mention that it stacks infinitely? Yeah, that's right, we can imitate Planter to make zombies not just slower, but even slower. And we can keep planting them to slow zombies down to a crawl, making them essentially powerless. Planter did not deserve to stun zombies for 3 seconds when played at the cost of only 25 stun already, and now they made it even better with a perma-slow. You can use this plant in pretty much any level and it will be fine. Torchlight zombies now killable with only spending free Puffshrooms. Extra time for plants to damage the incoming zombies. You absolutely need to use this plant in Bruno Mode EX. It's ridiculous that this is 3 times cheaper than an Ice Shroom, and is not restricted to nighttime with an arguably better effect. I'm at a loss of words. Gatling Pea is by far the best plant in Bruno Mode EX. When I mean by far, this plant is broken. Extremely high damage for not a very big investment while defending 3 rows. This plant is absolutely ridiculous in how much damage it outputs, and you can pretty much beat every single level of these guys because of the high scaling properties of Gatling Piece. Piercing damage has it from the starts it shoots. Damage has it from the extremely fast attack speed. Defending in multiple rows has it from its secondary attack adding damage to adjacent rows. Skills from the early game to the late game sure got that from the repeaters to start and can add a ton more damage with Torchwood. That being said, this plant can pretty much be used from all sorts of levels, including on adventure, on minigames, and it will make them a joke. You can even use them on roof levels because the damage is that high. It's still worth it even if you have to plant them in the middle of the lawn, since the zombies most likely won't touch it when the Gatling Piece shred all the zombies apart. Definitely the most important of the trifecta strategy, this plant patches up the low damage properties of cattails and repeaters, making the three plants combined easily the best strategy in the game to beat pretty much any level you use them in. And that's it for the Brutal Mode EX Mod plant tier list. I hope you enjoyed this video of me giving my opinion on all the plants in Brutal Mode EX. Tell me in the comments below if you'd like to disagree with my tier list placements, and make sure to subscribe to the channel to keep up with more modded PvZ content. And next time with a new mod that will be even more difficult than Brutal Mode EX. Some spoilers have been put on my Discord server for what the mod may be, so join now using the link in the description below. For now, have a great day and I'll see you all next time. Thanks for watching.